Don't want to give that first pick over to Solo because we know that he can get rolling if he gets the pony. So they're going to go ahead and take that one away. Still a lot of junglers on the board, though, that we are not seeing banned away. So wondering if we're going to see a little bit of focus coming in onto those ones here. Or if we're going to see more mid-bans against perhaps Yasui. We see Kalista going to be the last ban from Cloud9 Tempest. Don't want Moonway to get that one. We've seen him take off with Kalista, so pretty unsurprising that that will be the final ban for Cloud9 Tempest. But with this last one, there's so much on the board still. I'm going to be really interested to see what they want to get rid of.
And I'm glad that you bring up Kalista Moonway's performance. There are so many power picks, you're absolutely right, left on the board for both of these teams, and they have a lot of overlapping champion pools. Kalista is a big one. I'm actually surprised that Cloud9 Tempest banned it from blue side just because Laud likewise has had a fantastic performance on it. And look at this adaptation. I don't know if they lost a ban, I doubt it, but they decide not to use their final ban. First pickup is then going to be Laud's secondary champion, which is going to be his Severe. But, I mean, we've got Gragas available, Sejuani, Rek'Sai, and more importantly, Nidalee. Nidalee has been pretty much perma-banned against Hard every single time. It is open. Sejuani's now locked in for Zeriab. So we'll see if Hard goes the aggressive jungle route or if he's maybe going to fall back on one of those Trinity junglers.
Well, given how much he likes it, I wouldn't be too surprised if he does want to go for that Nidalee. Looks like he's hovering over the Rek'Sai right now. He could see that one locked in, but in the meantime, we can see Elomingle pick up the Rumble and Sejuani, and it will in fact be Rek'Sai coming in here, so not going to go for that Nidalee for Hard, and it's going to be the Thresh coming in for Sheep. We know that he loves this champion. He plays it, to its full potential with his death sentences, so really excited to see that one come out. That Sivir Thresh bot lane. We'll see what they want to fire back with here. Looks like we have the Lucian hover coming in so far for Moonway.
And Rumble is the other big power pick that crosses over on these teams. Yes, Big Ol' Ron has had a great performance on Rumble in the past. Hard carry his team a couple of times, but Solo King looks very comfortable on the Rumble. At the very beginning of the AlphaDraft series for Cloud9 Tempest, yes, they found a lot of their wins, but Solo King was struggling, was put on Kennen a few times, didn't quite match up, but when he got back on that Rumble, great job. So I expect that not only is it getting Big Ol' Ron on a comfort champion, but also denying a big power pick for Solo in the top.
Yeah, and we saw just from the last game alone how impactful a Rumble can be. Bren for the win, doing such a good job splitting against the Shyvana, who has been such a powerful pick in the top side with that Smite teleport. So even against that, the Rumble has been able to excel. So not too surprising that we see that one picked up. But for the bot lane, however, for Elomingle, it will be a Janna Lucian coming in here. So going to be looking for a lot of early aggression, it would seem, against this Sivir Thresh. But going to have to be careful of footing. Don't want to get caught out by Sheep's death sentences. And we know from history that they're usually pretty on point for him.
Now, the nice thing about taking Janna more of a defensive support, especially into a Thresh lane, which typically you pick Thresh into Janna just because it's a good counter to her, is that Lucian has a lot of 2v1 ability still. His lane phase is absurdly powerful, so it's not a... I was actually going to make a death sentence, not meaning for a pun, for Janna to go into this lane. And likewise, it's super important to pick up such a powerful disengage in Monsoon against the hard engage of On the Hunt.
And it looks like they're trying to make a team that can synergize with that On the Hunt quite well. We see Lulu going to be coming in for Yasui, as well as the Maokai for the top side against the Rumble for Solo. So looking to be able to pop that On the Hunt, get that twisted advance, and lock down onto the back line here. But ArcSecond does have this last pick available for him. We'll have to see what they're going to lock in against this Lulu in the mid lane. A lot of things, a lot of champions still on the board here. And this will really tell us what kind of team comp they want to create for themselves.
It eliminates a lot of assassins, though, and this is what I expected. I was going to say it's either going to be an Orianna or some sort of wave clear champion, just because you can't really pick... I mean, you can pick a Zed, you can pick an Ahri and a LeBlanc into Lulu, but you lose pretty much all of your kill potential just because the wild growth is a direct counter with that supplement of health and superficial tankiness, but decides to go the gold and blue route for ArcSecond this time around, and another big Orianna player throughout the AlphaDraft league is now going to take his hands at Ziggs.
Yeah, and we saw this one get played in the last game, and it just went oh so very well. Really played the slow game and then was able to kind of come to fruition later on in the midpoint and really start blowing up the back line of Crewcade. So we're going to have to see if Elomingle is able to do that same exact style of play. They likely are going to want to go a bit more aggressive early on just because of this Lucian-Janna duo. So we'll have to see if that's going to just really stay relegated to the bot lane, or if they're going to use that aggression moving into, you know, team fights and try to push for those earlier on in the game. So I'm interested to see how this one's going to play out. Ziggs should have a pretty good time against the Lulu, though, because he can play back out of range of those glitter lances. Yasui's going to have to be very reliant on throwing picks forward onto minions to get those glitter lances connected onto Arc Second.
The thing that I'm really curious about is in the identity that Cloud9 Tempest have set up for themselves. Yasui is a big assassin player. Obviously, he has a massive champion pool, and he can fit many different styles, and we've seen a lot of different champions come out of him. But taking a Lulu, even though he is taking the Ignite, so he has the kill summoner in the lane, not really where you would think of how you want your power on Yasui. You think, oh, we want him to be another primary carry, but in their composition, they're really all about LOD and transferring Lulu's lane bully into that mid-game, late-game utility to empower the AD carry there. So we'll see if LOD's able to pick up the slack, or if maybe they'll regret not having Yasui on a tried-and-true carry.
Yeah, well, all of that will tell with time, which is what we have plenty of. We're just going to have to wait for the spectator delay to count down, and then we'll be on to the Rift with the second match of the night. So don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to go to a quick little break while we wait for the load-in. In the meantime, though, if you haven't already, be sure to go ahead and check out AlphaDraft.com. Draft your own fantasy league team and compete for cash prizes here with the AlphaDraft Challenger League. My name is Achilleos. With me is Froscura, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Welcome to AlphaDraft, where esports fans win cash and prizes for drafting top fantasy teams. Your mission is this: every week, draft your dream team from the LCS pros in that week's matchups. You'll receive a $50,000 salary cap to select your team. Teams have 6 players: a top, jungle, mid, ADC, support, and a flex position which can be filled by any player. You will also choose the team that you think will play best. Players are scored based on kills, deaths, assists, and CS, and teams win points for Dragon, Baron, and Turret kills. Every week, choose from both free and paid contests that will give away thousands of dollars in cash and prizes. Once games start, watch directly from AlphaDraft and see your stats update live. Most contests have many winners, so check back often to see how you match up against other LCS fans. Good luck, and remember, knowledge is money. Be Alpha.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the AlphaDraft Challenger League. My name is Achilles. With me is Frosker, and we have our second game of the night this time. It's going to a pause, but it's Cloud9 Tempest on the blue side. We have plenty of time to do these intros. Solo in the top lane with Maokai. Hard in the jungle with the Rek'Sai. Yasui in the mid with Lulu. Lod and Sheep round out the bot side with Sivir and Thresh.
On the other side, it's going to be Elomingle. It's Big Ol' Ron in the top line. On that Rumble, Zeriab in the jungle with Sejuani. Arc second. Ziggs taking it to the mid lane. And then in the bot lane, it's going to be Moonway and Biofrost taking Lucian and Janna. We're actually having a few issues considering a remake. Admins, we may actually have to get you involved here.
Yeah, we'll find out if that is going to be the case. Not quite sure if it will be here, but gonna have to, really keep our eyes on Moonway and Biofrost here, despite the uphill battle that Elomingle is coming into here. Moonway and Biofrost have time and time again shown, Moonway specifically has shown that he is able to put the team on his back and carry them to victory, or in a lot of the cases near victory. They have had so many close games where he has excelled as an AD carry, but they've just been unable to close out the match as a team. Looks like we will have this pause resumed. So back onto the Rift here. We'll not have a remake, so it's good that we can go ahead and avoid that whole debacle. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how Moonway is going to carry on this Lucian this time around.
I'm really excited to see how Big Ol' Ron's going to deal with his Doran ring start on Rumble.
Yeah, it's an interesting point.
For those of you who don't realize, Rumble does not have mana. He's a resource-based or resourceless champion. It's all about stacking his overheat and how you want to balance that. And obviously, the Doran's ring has stats on it that are completely unnecessary to Rumble, like mana regen.
Yep. And we are right back into another pause. Gonna find out what the heck is going on here. Looks like just a slight little issue. This one's gonna be resumed right away, so pretty quick one here. But like you said, Doran's ring.
A little bit of a handicap.
Yeah, this a little bit might be a little bit of an understatement here for Big Ol' Ron. He is going against.
On the bright side.
Yeah, he is going against a Maokai, so it's not the largest damage output champion that he could be facing in the top side of the map, so it's not that bad of a handicap, I guess, but still a handicap. Nonetheless, we can see there will be a little bit of a lane swap coming out, but going to get read out, so we will still have a 2v2 Lod and Sheep on their way to the top side of the map.
Wow, so both bot lanes reading each other, making sure that they do find that 2v2. It's pretty cute. I was going to say, on the bright side, he's got 15 plus AP. Yeah? That Rumble damage? Yeah.
That could spell the difference that he needs. But both these bot lanes getting up top, seeing each other, and just being like, damn it. You guys.
I was trying to avoid you.
I thought we were going to get around this. There to see Sheep laying down some harass, starting with that Flay. We'll eat a bit of damage though on the backside of that trade.
I'm glad though that you brought up Moonway, and I try to bring this up kind of as often as possible, just because I'm always really. A lot of times role swaps never really work. You think about how many professional in the LCS role swaps have been successful. You can probably list maybe 3 names total. Moonway was originally a mid laner, is now playing the AD position. Obviously, we also had Lod, who took a short stint in the mid lane before returning to the AD carry position. But just phenomenal performance, multiple champions. I've been really impressed with Moonway. Now we'll really get to see if he can test his merit against the likes of Lod and Sheep.
Yeah, he's certainly got, a tough matchup cut out for him here. We've seen Lod and Sheep, relatively new, duo. In the bot lane, especially for Cloud9 Tempest. But they've already had such good synergy with each other and really play on the same page when it comes to making those plays. So he's going to have his work cut out for him. So far, playing a bit further back, really paying respect to Sheep. He knows that this guy is able to land those unexpected death sentences. You know, he's able to make those work in his favor. So, really playing back against, you know, the minions here. We can see the death sentence coming through. All the same against Moonway, already popping out that heal, and he eats a bunch of damage from Lot on the backside of that one. Gonna get taken down quite low. Still stuck underneath this tower. Dashes a little bit through that boomerang blade, but Eye of the Storm Shield will eat a good bit of that damage for him. Keeping up NCS a little bit, but starting to fall slightly behind.
And Lot and Sheep are really put in this position where they're able to take full control of the lane just because of what we saw Sheep just do now. Both times getting into the lane, getting that far forward, they pulled the creeps to make sure that they get it focusing the correct target, and then Lod comes in, is able to manipulate it, far superior to Moonway's Lucian with the Ricochet. I always want to call it Bouncing Blaze. I'm like, no, that's not a Katarina. It's a Sivir, excuse me. Sorry, Twitch chat. They get really upset about that one.
They're about to get on you with that one. It's Sivir! Severe, but we can see a little bit of a skirmish going on the bot side. Big old Ron eating a good brunt of damage. Oddly enough, despite the Dorans, doesn't have any mana. Not able to sustain that one up against the Maokai. But Zeriab in the top side trying to find a nice engage. Good, very good flash from Sheep. Fantastic reaction time. Big old Ron getting that Twisted Advance onto him as he throws out that Flame Spitter with the overheat. Pumping back the damage here. They will trade fairly evenly.
AP.
Yeah, that extra AP doing quite well.
But of course, Solo is able to go hard right there and look for the Twisted Advance just because Zeriab showed on the map, so he knew that there was no jungle pressure to stop him from looking for a bigger trade on Big ol' Ron. So good read by Solo to understand that he could go aggressive right there. That said, Big ol' Ron, I think, actually won that trade in the end.
Yeah, coming out, you know, a little bit on top, so showing up quite nicely with this Rumble, but this could be dangerous. You don't want to dive a Rumble. You can see nice flash away, Solo taking up the tower. The pop-up goes on hard. He will not eat a tower shot. That would have certainly killed him. But very nicely played by Big ol' Ron, pumping out the damage. Does get to walk away with his life. Flash down for hard as well, so they do trade those summoners.
It was a really good use of the flash. He walked into that narrow corridor in between the tower and the wall, and of course it left for a nice CC chain for Solo to Twisted Advance to lead in for hard to find his knockup, but then flash through the structure. And the issue is that then Maokai and Rek'Sai had to path around the tower base, as opposed to if it was in the open, they would just have to walk and slap him. So, good job. I feel like I always end awkwardly. I'm just sitting here thinking about Severe makes so much more sense as a name for a champion because it's a word and it kind of plays into the theme and her motif as a champion and her design. Severe is not a word.
It's a name, though. Lucian's not a word, but it's a name, so it works.
You have to think like Shaco is an anagram for chaos, and it just works so well with his kit. So it just made sense to me that it would be Severe.
Oh, well, look at this engage in the top side. Teleport will come across from Big ol' Ron as Moonway gets grabbed up. A huge amount of damage fight back on Lod. That Ignite ticking down. He will go down. That's Biofrost finding the first blood. Teleport not needed. Sorry, Big ol' Ron. No assist for you. At the same time, Hard not able to find a kill there. Nicely played from the bot lane duo of Elomingle.
Yeah, so much damage coming out right there. Now, of course, good news for Cloud9 Tempest is that the kill did go on to Biofrost, so we'll see what he's able to itemize here. Shouldn't be anything too threatening. It will be a Sightstone, so transitioning that First Blood gold into the rest of his team through vision and information gathering. See if he maybe looks for deep wards, if it's just to add security to him as they now move Moonway and Biofrost into the bottom side of the map, so securing that dragon control. Especially as they have a TP advantage since Big ol' Ron burned his TP to get involved on the back of that.
Alright, so that should, despite the kill going over to Biofrost, that should help this early aggression for Moonway with the Lucian. You can see up just a little bit of gold on his back. Will be coming in with a pickaxe as well as an Avarice Blade. And you can see both of these bot lane duo is actually going back to the bot side, not going to be sticking around on top, so we will see the continuation of Big ol' Ron and Solo up top. Keep watching that one unfold and see who's going to come out on top. Big ol' Ron still holding on to the Doran's ring, but we can see he has picked up the Amptome.
I respect that he kept it.
Yeah, he could have
sell it.
Yeah, Could have sold to try to go for a little bit more gold toward the completion of that Haunting Guise, but going to hold on to those two for the time being. See a bit of damage traded back and forth there. Really playing actually into the hands of big old Ron for the current moment, so doing a pretty good job despite the awkward item start for the Rumble. And he's been managing his heat fairly well with these to counter the aggression that Solo's laying out with his Maokai.
The issue, however, though, is that, again, we're still at a TP discrepancy. So Solo has his teleport available to him. Big ol' Run does not. Obviously, that equalizer is a key component of any team fight. It's really about when you pick a Rumble, a lot of people recognize that composition. This is a composition that likes to fight over Dragon. So we'll see if Cloud9 Tempest do anything with this window of opportunity and try to maybe force a Dragon. I almost called him 14A. Hard did Rek'Sai ult to the top side of the map, and is possibly looking for a sneaky gank through the wall using his tunnels.
Yeah, well, he does have Big Ol' Ron playing quite far forward. There is a ward there, but given the quick engage time that the Rek'Sai has, he won't be able to get out of that one. There is the engage. Big Ol' Ron getting popped up, uses the equalizer, but he will go down hard. Finding that kill on the Rek'Sai, going to be a very nice pickup for him. And with that jungler showing, that Zeriab not in a position to really, try to start up this Dragon take. So completely on the opposite side of the map of where he needs to be in that sort of situation. This should open up for a little bit of aggression onto that top side tower for Solo and Hard if they both want to stick around.
And likewise, the vision control that Cloud9 Tempest have around the Dragon Pit allowed them and gave them the confidence to make a play like that in the top lane, knowing that Dragon wasn't an objective that could be traded.
Yeah. Really good play coming out there. It's going to help this Rek'Sai become that much more aggressive. We can already see the Trailblazer with Cinderhulk has been completed. Now sitting on a decent little bit of gold. Let's see where he wants to start going with his build next. But a pretty good spot for Cloud9 Tempest finding that kill and a very slight little gold lead here, despite the first blood going over to Elomingle. Dragon wards have expired and been cleared out yet, so that's still not become a point of contention, but the way that this game is going from both sides, likely going to see both of them going for an attempt. We might get our first true team fight. Teleport going to be up for big old Ron in just a little bit of time. As we can see, that one's over 3/4 of the way done. Solo still sitting on that one. Meanwhile, Death Sentence connects on the Moonway in the bot side. The box coming through as well as on the hunt pop for Lod. Nice Monsoon does come through, but Biofrost getting flayed back. Eats that Boomerang Blade. That Eye of the Storm does come through a little bit late. Sheep eating the brunt of this calling. Good damage. Traded back onto Cloud9 Tempest bot lane. Elomingle doing a good job using that aggression from the Lucian. Now Zeriab joining them in the bot side. Will have to take that Dark Passage to safety to get Lod out of harm's way. So not yet going to be able to find a kill here, but we can see both junglers still hovering around this bot side. Zeriab sitting nearby, Hard waiting in the wings. Could have a nice 3-on-3. Arc second. Slightly on their own down. Zeriab does find Hard as they engage each other. A little bit of damage going to get traded out here. But they will both be relatively safe, so I think this is going to be the back for both of these bot laners.
In the end, I was curious if Zeriab was going to get involved in that fight. Fortunately, though, Sheep with some really nice lanterns to disengage Lod safely there. A lot of summoners, a lot of ultimates used. Actually, Hard. Is he starting the dragon? He is. He's soloing the dragon, has a pink ward on the back of the pit. We'll see if he's caught here, especially as Elomingle start coming back into their lanes. Should surely refresh their vision in the river.
Yeah, I think he's just going to be able to pick up this dragon for free. So
nice call, knowing that everyone was back after that big skirmish in the bot lane. Everyone was low. Kind of a high-risk, high-reward call, but pays off, and naturally he's able to do that to avoid most of the obvious warding spots because he could tunnel through the back of the pit, as opposed to going all the way around the front of the dragon and being spotted out by possibly a river ward.
Really well played by him, so you can see just about dead even on gold between these two teams, but going to be that hidden advantage here for Cloud9 Tempest with the first dragon pickup of the game's going to spell that much more of an advantage as we move forward into the mid game here, just at the 13-minute mark so far. So no huge item buys coming in. We do see Yasui has completed his Athenes, as has Arc Second, who is sitting up with a blasting wand. Yasui opting to go for the boots for that added little extra bit of mobility to dodge around those bouncing bombs. But so far, neither of these mid laners really becoming any, sort of impactful force in this game thus yet. We saw this last game from, the Ziggs over on the side of Frank Gaming with Golden Glue. So Arc Second still looking to play a little bit slowly. Big old run, returning to his top side. Will throw out the equalizer just to get rid of that wave and alleviate some pressure. Turret down to about 45% HP. And ooh, actually Zeriab taking away that blue buff with the Cinder Hulk. So a little bit of missed timing on the abilities from Arc Second. Not able to get that one.
The main difference that we see between Arc Second and Golden Glue, however, is the CS discrepancy. Golden Glue got a massive CS lead on his opponent last game. Arc Second is actually at a deficit playing Ziggs against Yasui's Lulu. Now, we expected that this was kind of be a farm-heavy lane. Obviously, these two champions have very different roles, however, as we kind of come into the mid-game, late-game team fights. Although, hold on, because Arc Second getting ganked.
Getting popped up, uses that satchel charge to get himself to safety, eats a little bit of that glitter lance on the backside, but he will be relatively safe for now. But that will be the heal and flash down for him. So gonna be that much more susceptible to ganks. Gonna have to play quite carefully. We can see Hard already starting to get a little bit tanky. Ninja Tabby's coming in for him. And doing some nice invasive play, smiting out on the wolf to get that little spirit and spot out. Zariab getting a nice steal away. Sheep maybe in a little bit of a bad spot. The Glacial Pistol comes out. He gets knocked up by the Howling Gale. Huge damage coming out from Moonway. Can they finish him off? They do, but Biofrost takes the kill yet again. Lod playing quite far forward, but has no mana. Is going to be forced to peel off of this one. Meanwhile, on the top side, Big Old Ron laying on damage into Solo, as we can see, using that overheat auto attack to really rip through the ranks of that Maokai, who so far only has the Catalyst, the Protector, and the Null Magic Mantle. So not a very tanky Maokai quite just yet.
Obviously, the Maokai nerfs really hurting his sustain in lane. He is over the first threshold as far as getting his regen leveled up. He'll find his second one when he turns level 13, but Moonway and Biofrost, actually Hard getting involved in the bot lane. Full control over this lane. They were looking to take down the tower, but with Hard's intervention, he's able to push that back and save it for another day.
Yeah, so good damage coming out onto that bot turret. Still Hard poking around, maybe looking to force this wave back and get a bit more damage, if not the tower here in the bot side, which would be the first turret of the game. He's sticking around, throwing out that Prey Seeker, using the Tremors to try to spot out these members of Elomingle. They're ripping through this tower quite effectively. That is not going to be a calling up for Moonway for quite some time. Either Storm comes out, the wave dies, so they will be able to hold on to this tower for a bit longer. But for how much longer, we cannot say. Hard still sticking around. Looks like they're going to stay in this one for the long haul and take down this tower.
Issue is that Zeriab is on completely opposite sides of the map, and even as he's rotating down here, bringing with him Arc Second, his Glacial Prism is not available for probably another 20 to 30 seconds.
Yeah, we can see that Mega Inferno Bomb has been thrown out by Arc Second. Just a little bit too late to try to save that tower. Will claim the minions. Getting him slightly caught up to Yasui, but still playing a bit further behind. So far, Cloud9 Tempest doing a pretty good job taking control of the map with that first turret of the game. Top side also quite low. Mid hasn't yet taken that much damage. But we will likely see a bit more focus. Maybe another paid visit from Hard into the top side against Big Old Ron's Rumble to try to push down that turret and open up the map that much more for Cloud9 Tempest. Second dragon of the game is going to be spawning in about 1 minute and 5 seconds. So likely that's going to be the next point of contention here. Neither of these top laners have teleport available currently, but within the next minute they both should have that one up. We could see some interesting 5v5 plays around that dragon side of the pit, so should be really good and maybe telling on how the rest of this game is going to play out if we get a full-on team fight between these two.
It would also be the first time, if it chooses to work out like this, that Big Ol' Ron's able to use his equalizer around the dragon pit, especially as he has that level 11 available to him. That is a very powerful team fight for Elomingle. It can break the door wide open on this game should they get a good fight and a good equalizer.
Yeah, could really turn that on, like you said, with an equalizer on that dragon pit. We can see Big old Ron trying to shove up the top side of the map, but with Solo coming back in, he's only going to be able to get that turret down to about half HP. Meanwhile, some pretty aggressive vision coming out around the Dragon Pit for both sides. Dragon spawning right now. Both junglers are in the vicinity as well as the bot laners. In the mids, it's just these top laners still duking it out up top. Big old Ron gonna have to be careful though. He has no way of really stopping the teleport from Solo, whereas he can use the Twisted Advance, and his Arcane Smash to stop the teleport from Big old Ron, which could really turn things around.
These team fights in a full 5v5 in their most basic form come down to burst damage versus sustained chase damage. So obviously with the Severe on the hunt, with the utility that Yasui's Lulu is going to offer, if Cloud9 Tempest get a fight where they get to chase someone down and it's this elongated, sustained damage fight, they have the chance to come out on top. What they really need to be careful, though, is that stacked wombo combo, the Equalizer, the Glacial Prism, the Mega Inferno Bomb, all landing on top of them and just deleting them from the team fight.
Yeah, it could be quite bad, but another question here is, does Arc Second have the damage to really delete them with the Mega Inferno Bomb? We can see Moonway does have that Infinity Edge, so he should be outputting a good amount. Zarya getting grabbed over, Hard goes into the pit. Who's going to get the Dragon? The Smite's about to come out. It looks like it will in fact be the red team with the convert coming in from Moonway, but they're going to pay for this one. Cloud9 Tempest picking up a couple kills on the backside. The Equalizer comes out from Big Old Ron as he tries to get a kill on the Lot, but the Wild Growth comes across. Yasui will find that kill. Now Sheep getting hammered out by Moonway, flashes forward, gets the Flay, trying to lock him in place. In time, he should have the death sentence available in just a couple seconds as he retreats underneath the tower. Now Biofrost in such a bad spot. Yasui gonna find that kill with the auto attacks. So they lose the Dragon, but they pick up 3 for 0. And it looks like their eyes are gonna be on this mid turret as well. Cloud9 Tempest gonna come out advantageous on this side of the exchange.
And this is exactly what I was talking about. All 3 of the big wombo combo ultimates came out, but they weren't stacked together from Elomingle. As soon as those ultimates and those cooldowns were down, it just led Cloud9 Tempest to chase and to clean up kills on the back half of that, as well as to trade the tower for the Dragon. So yeah, they lost the Dragon, still came out ahead.
Yep, really good pickups for them. We can see that gold lead starting to stretch for them. First real one that we're seeing of the game. 4-2 in kills, but 2 towers up. So Cloud9 Tempest doing quite a good job of, really just kind of, manipulating their placement on the map and just being in the right place at the right time. Solo straight back into the top side, trying to get that push in onto the top tower to finish that one off. But we do see, meanwhile, in the mid lane, that will be the first tower of the game falling in favor of Elomingle, so should help close that gold gap a little bit. As you can see, they're down by just about 900 gold. So nothing too significant yet between these two teams, but with the way that these fights are being played out, Cloud9 Tempest are showing a bit more prowess in that regard.
Can never discount the wombo combo. I mean, really, it comes down to Elomingle. They just need to be so much more, not conservative, but wary of how they're stacking those very vital cooldowns and make sure that they're happening together. Obviously, there's a delayed teleport from Big Ol' Ron. The Equalizer came down on the very end of the fight, which it was pretty much over at that point. Hopefully, they'll have that synced up better for the next team fight, and it actually looks like they're congregating for that to be in the top lane.
Yeah, we can see a lot of attention being paid up here. Lod and Sheep both now roaming their way up. This is going to be Moonway and Biofrost making their way up as well. Zaryab to really bolster their ranks. We'll sweep out that brush. Not going to be able to find any wards, but both top towers being quite low. Moonway may be able to force his way onto this one. Not quite going to be able to get the damage in just yet. Hard sitting in his tunneling form, using those tremors to spot out how many members there are around the area. Meanwhile, that is Solo using the Righteous Glory to try to get in range to lock down Arc Second, but a nice satchel charge will pop him to safety. Sheep gets a nice flay in, but takes a bunch of damage. The Culling comes across. He's gonna fall here. Big ol' Ron finds that one with the Equalizer. Now it's Hard and Solo playing from the side. Lod has that on the hot pop. Boomerang Blade coming across. Big ol' Ron taking a bunch of damage as he overheats. The Mega Inferno Bomb not really going to connect onto anybody. Yasui finding that first kill up the fight. Now Zaryab going to have to retreat here. Moonway finding a kill. Solo playing forward onto Moonway as well as he tries to kite back. It's going to be a double kill as he gets popped with Arc Second joining the fight. Yasui and Lod going to be on the retreat. Zaryab taking that Glitter Lance, being taken quite low. Moonway as well going to have to play back. Arc Second throwing out these bouncing bombs. Not going to connect onto Yasui. Now we're going to have to play quite carefully. But overall, that's going to be a 2-for-1 pickup here in favor of Elomingle. But as you can see, they're all backing. This is likely going to be the turret pickup for Lod to really trade that one back.
And that's just about what I was going to comment on. Yeah, in favor, it went over to Elomingle as far as the kill score, but objectively and structurally, they're still going to lose out here. Yes, that top-tier tower just needs a stiff breeze. It'll surely go down should they send one member up to take care of it later down the road, but that equalizer. Yeah, it was a nice snipe to pick up the kill on Sheep underneath the tower because obviously Big Ol' Ron, I almost called him Brandon for the win. Big Ol' Ron didn't want to approach that dangerously, but you can't use an ultimate that vital on one member, especially the support in a continued team fight. And this has been consistently the problem for Elomingle's team fights. They need to synchronize those ultimates if they really just want to clean up these fights and start taking their lead back.
Really hard to try to call in Brandon for the win. All these Rumble players coming in. We can see Cloud9 Tempest yet again playing very far forward into the enemy jungle. Taking away that blue buff, Yasui will be able to pick this one up here, so not going to have that little bit of falter that Arc Second and Zariab had where he wasn't able to get that one taken away. So very nicely played by Cloud9 Tempest, really playing on all fronts of the map here. Good vision control across the board. We could see a lot of the vision from the side of Elomingle kind of stuck up into their own topside jungle. Worried about that invasive play around the red buff, and actually losing out on the blue. Zariab using that sweeper to try to fire back a little bit, gain some vision, clear out these tunnel systems as best as he can. Still one sitting in the dragon pit. I want to see if they're going to clear this one out relatively soon, because that will be the third dragon of the game, spawning in about 30 seconds. Both teleports yet again up for both these guys. So we could have another interesting play. Biofrost getting a little bit of damage from that boomerang blade, but he will be quite safe for the time being.
And likewise, because the dragon is about to spawn in 15 seconds, we see both of the teams congregating over here, moving their vision, denying their vision around this pit. Question will be if Big Ol' Ron is going to get involved in this. Obviously, Hard is zoning out the majority of Elomingle right there. There is multiple plays to be made on the map right now for Elomingle, and the fact that this top lane tower is so low that should the teleport go through, if they want to give up the dragon, they could then trade it for the objective, but I think they want the team fight.
Yeah, as you can see, he's already going to go ahead and finish off that tower as he goes aggressive onto Solo here. Has that overheat potential. Does rip him down for a little bit of his HP. Likely going to see Solo recall so that he can teleport into the pit with full HP. Big Ol' Ron already going to add that pressure on around the dragon pit. Use that teleport a little bit preemptively. Solo has recall and he's teleporting in on the back side. This could potentially be bad here. We can see a very nice equalizer going to come across the calling. Burnout as well. Solo playing on the backside. Zariab already taking out quite low. Sheep low as well. The dragon has been engaged and it's just hitting the ranks of Cloud9 Tempest right now. Solo almost going down. Pushed down to about 7% HP. Moonway dashing over the wall. Will find a kill. He finds a double kill now, finishing off Hard. This is going to open up the dragon. A very nice play coming in for Elomingle, finishing off 2 members of Cloud9 Tempest and picking up their second dragon of the game.
Finally, they lock down the equalizer into a glacial prism. They pick up the fight. They pick up the objective. Lod trying to find a counter push on the mid lane is going to get flanked, so we'll only get a few damage on this, but we'll have to quickly exit to the top side of the map. There's Sheep. But Elomingle back into this game because they finally figured it out. Press R together, win game.
Yeah, they start lining up that wombo combo. That's working out for them, and maybe a little bit of, too much of an aggressive play coming in for Solo, teleporting in on the backside without the rest of his team really collapsing in simultaneously. We saw him splitting and trying to get onto Arc Second, but just not able to do too much of a job there. He hasn't quite become as tanky of a Maokai as he needs to be. Only has that Righteous Glory finished with the Spectre's Cowl. He's working on, more. He has the Glacial Shroud in his pocket, but right now is not quite that, unstoppable force, that wall of a tank that he needs to become to be able to make those splitting plays from the backside. So really good, and Moonway coming up huge in those fights. We can see 3 major item completions coming in for him. Has that Bloodthirster completed as well as the Static Shiv now. So looking quite powerful with Illusion, yet to suffer a death here. So doing a really good job, playing forward for his team and really carrying the KDR.
Speaking of completed items and big itemization finishes, we have Yasui now has the Death Cap, the Luden's Echo, and the Athene's completed. Obviously, Ziggs is looking at the Luden's Echo next, although I assume he's looking at it because right now he only has the Amphtone available. So 2 completed items versus Yasui's 3 completed items. It was cute. When Solo backed, I thought he might be pulling a Hecarim and backing for home guard upgrades and then trying to use a speed advantage, but he actually just picked up a piece of his Spectre Cowl and then decided to go ham on the back teleport. Didn't work out. Next time.
Did not work out.
Next time.
Might see that home guard start next time around. Then again, he does have that Righteous Glory that he was relying on a little bit. Overall, the team fight of Cloud9 Tempest just not quite coming up as strong as Elomingle's did.
You know what's scary?
What's that?
A giant indestructible tree. But you know what's even scarier than that? A tree going 60 miles an hour.
That would be quite scary.
Yeah, well, it's a slow tree right now because he just had Righteous Glory. I wanted the home guard. I wanted to see Maokai just, like, zip in.
And so, unfortunately, not quite going to happen just yet. We will likely see that pickup coming in pretty soon. Zeriab playing pretty far forward, going to have to be careful. Howling Gale thrown out by Biofrost. That potential engage. So right now, just playing a lot of a Vision War hard. Going over the wall onto Zeriab, pops him up as he gets Death Sentence as well. Zeriab should be safe to go ahead and walk right out of this one, but Arc Second not safe. Throws out that Mega Inferno bomb, but Lod takes a bit of that damage, but he goes down. The Culling comes across, Lod down to about half HP. Solo taking a little bit of that one as well, but a nice pickup. Coming in on the mid side onto the Ziggs. He's normally such a safe champion. Soul playing quite far forward yet again with that Righteous Glory pop. A very nice equalizer coming across to try to segment this fight. Big old run. Tanking up a good bit. Now Zeriab getting grabbed up by the Thresh. He will go down hard finding that kill. And it's going to be Cloud9 Tempest taking complete control of this fight with a 2-for-0. The Pinks coming out as they sweep the Vision around the Baron Pit. I don't think they're going to make a play for this one. Quite just yet, but really starting to flex their muscles and take control of this game.
The tree, the sped up tree, 60 miles an hour. What was I talking about? That was both kills on the back of Solo getting a Whimsy and a Righteous Glory and just powering through into the backline with his Twisted Advance. That said, though, even though they picked up those 2 kills, what it really only translates to as far as objective on the map is that they're able to clear out the Vision for Baron, because unfortunately for Cloud9 Tempest, Elomingle had managed to create a massive slow push on the bottom side, which Laud actually just cleared out this time around. See if he sets it up for a slow push back towards the direction, and maybe they use that to play with Baron pressure.
Again, that Baron pressure going to be quite nice. As you can see, it's going to become a point of contention very shortly in this game, as well as the 4th Dragon, as that one's getting ready to come up in the next minute and 15 seconds. It's going to be Elomingle looking to, really get that one locked down and net themselves that 5% move speed increase. Should definitely help Zeriab move around and get those Glacial Prisons down onto the enemy team, as well as Moonway with his placement in these team fights. But for the time being, Cloud9 Tempest roaming as a unit, getting that Scuttle Crab. Going to be using their Vision. Arc Second looks like he's going to be in their sight. They won't be able to find any satchel charges away. Throws out that Mega Inferno Bomb. Takes off a little bit of Sheep and Yasui's health. But for the most part, we're just going to go ahead and trade an item activation for a major ultimate. Now that's going to be the on the hunt popped as Solo goes in. They catch up. Big old run. He gets deleted. Lod finding that kill. Now Zeriab going to have to be on the retreat. Moonway not able to find an entry into this fight. Throws out the Culling. Solo going to take up the brunt of that one. Several members of Cloud9 Tempest taking a bit of damage, but for the most part, pretty healthy. You'll see as they get ready to gear up for their 2nd Dragon of the game, which is spawning in just 8 seconds. So in a very nice spot. No Arc Second for the Mega Inferno Bomb to try to get the steal away, and they're going to have to give this one over to Cloud9 Tempest.
And neither defensive ultimates used in that pick that leads to this Dragon. The Masoon and the Wild Growth are both still available, whereas the Glacial Prism and the Equalizer were burned, but to no avail on any sort of counter engagement or counter trade. So free Dragon over to Cloud9 Tempest. That said, it does give Elomingle a window of opportunity to walk over to this Baron and to refresh the wards. We'll actually see if they... Ooh, they're starting it. Teleport from the back of it.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to get this one. And very nicely timed Baron take. Should get these guys quite an advantage here. So even in Dragons, but up to Baron. So we can see gold lead now in favor of Elomingle. This is really going to come down to what they do with this buff and if they're able to push for objective takes. All outer turrets still standing for Cloud9, Tempest, and Elomingle. But with those Baron empowered minions, they could make a pretty relatively easy push in and try to get those picks as long as they can play their wombo combo correctly. So after the recalls, we're going to have to see what these guys want to do. So far, kills really riding on Moonwaves. You can see 4, 0, and 3 still on that Lucian. 4 out of the 7 kills that his team has total. The other 2 coming up from Biofrost, so not quite, or the other 2 there, and then 1 going in for Big Old Ron. So not quite where you want your kills allocated to. But we've seen Moonwave before, as we discussed at the beginning of this game. He's able to carry the team on his back. But with such a mid and early game centric champion like Lucian, the longer this game goes on, the more that opportunity can slip out of their fingers, especially with Zeriab getting grabbed up. A very nice Howling Gale, though. Will stop hard from that tunnel system in. Not going to be able to get that pop-up, so Zeriab will be able to walk out with his life.
Looks like the Baron is being used mostly as a pause mechanism, however. Neither team really approaching to attempt a siege. Obviously, Cloud9 Tempest can't siege into the Baron buffed up creeps, but Elomingle really just resetting their waves and their pressure points across the map. Issue is that they have a wombo combo style composition, so it's beneficial for them to be in or be as all 5 should a team fight arise, as opposed to trying to skirmish, things like that. But if they wanted to use the Baron in all 3 lanes, that would obviously counteract staying together.
Yeah. And with this team comp, they can't quite split like that because they lose all of their potential, for their big wombo combo in team fights, so they're gonna have to stick together and try to push this.
They've got a big wave going up in the top lane, though, so...
Yeah, we did see our second throw out the Mega Inferno Bomb to get that one moving, so pretty nice by him. Hard is in the bot side, if there is a time, this could be it for them to try to push and maybe take this tier 2 tower. Let's see, he is on the recall. The Void Rush is available as well, so could take to one of these tunnel systems, potentially this one on the top side of the river, and maybe try to pinch in from the back side. But for now, it looks like Elomingle just slowly putting pressure in on this mid tower.
They don't have a lot of poke for them outside Arc second.
Yeah. Yeah, so that, you can see they're suffering a little bit in that regard. Clearing out the waves effectively, but...
So that's also a big issue, not having that 40% CDR, as well as the ability to just spam off the region. But they are playing fairly patiently with their wave that they've created in the top lane. Although, as I say that, they're now moving into the jungle and losing pressure in mid. The caster curse. Here comes the engage. Nope, never mind. We're good.
Yep, they just go ahead and pop out that righteous glory for, just for funsies. Just not going to be able to find anything off the backside of that one. So Elomingle still sitting with a very slight lead as these guys are even in towers and dragons. The 5th dragon of the game, speaking of which, is going to be spawning in about a minute and 50 seconds. We'll have to see which one's going to pick that one up, because that's going to set either side over the halfway mark for that aspect of the dragon buff.
The teams are actually doing us a massive favor because they know that there's an absurdly long break after this game. So they're like, we know that Misfits can't play until 8, so what we're going to do is we're going to stall this game out for 3 hours. We're going for the absolute record here.
Yeah, that break, not going to be fun. We might, have to spectate Zyrene yet again. Maybe find
I'll 1v1 you, mate.
I'll 1v1 you. You don't want to see my... Frost, you don't want to see my Jace.
Do you know a guy named Tasty Dubbins?
Sounds relatively familiar.
Well, he's a caster at ESL. So last time I did a 1v1 on stream, he played Crit Braum, and this was, of course, at the very early release of Braum. So no one had any... Either way, I got cheesed by a crit. He crit me like 3 times in a row on the top lane, so I got pretty salty about 1v1s after that. Real nice RNG, right?
Yeah, gotta love that. Those early Braum builds were pretty interesting. The Blade of the Ruin King top lane Braum.
Again, like a brawler scrub. I don't know. I felt gypped. It was awful.
I can imagine.
Back in it though. Dragon gonna spawn in 22 seconds. That'll be the next big point of contention. It'll only be the third dragon for either of these teams. Now that said, the movement speed buff that the third dragon will grant them is pretty nice, especially because Cloud9 Tempest's composition seems to be speeding this Maokai as fast as he can go and hurtling him at the enemy team.
We can see both of them just really hovering around this river area, just not able to find the proper engage. Neither team wants to commit here, as the dragon is live, though I may have to eat those words. It's going to be the righteous glory pop. A nice equalizer, though, but big old Ron taking a bunch of damage. Solo playing so far forward, though. He's completely segregated from the rest of the team, and he takes a bunch of damage. The Monsoon comes across as he goes down. Moonway finding that kill. Now the rest of Cloud9 Tempest is going to have to be on the run. Zeriab taking a bunch of damage, however, though. But this will be the dragon started up, and it looks like this is going to go over with relative ease to Elomingle. They do go ahead and pick that one up. Yep, hard not able to get the steal away. Very nice pickup for them, and a very good dark passage to get him to safety. But
so Cloud9
that's
Tempest,
their dragon.
They fall back on their tried and true method of speeding up Maokai, sitting him in. Now, naturally with Yasui's Whimsy, it scales off of AP, so he's got a 67% movement speed increase. That said, he sped Maokai up into a tight little corridor, and it gave Big Ol' Ron a perfect equalizer, which allowed them to move away into that dragon.
So that's going to be a really solid pickup for Elomingle, who are, they're coming out quite strongly in this game, and it's really going to be a matter if history is going to repeat itself, because we've seen them do so well in the past against the higher ranked teams, but they have not been able to close out those games in some circumstances. So right now, in a pretty advantageous position, especially with the second Baron now spawning. So looking to, cause the upset against Cloud9 Tempest. We'll have to see if they're going to be able to finish this one out. Good vision control starting to come out around the Baron pit, going to be the next point of contention here. And, really, whoever picks up this Baron, I feel like it might spell out the rest of the game for them.
Oh, here comes the counter engage, looking for the flank.
Yeah, Zeriab going in. Solo goes in with a twisted advance, pops out that Maelstrom, but he's eating so much damage from this calling. He goes down. Moonway able to find that kill. That alone might be enough to encourage the Baron attempt here for Elomingle. As you can see, they are roaming their way up, sweeping through the wards. Not going to be able to take out that Scuttlecrab, however, but the pink ward thrown down. They will get vision of this pit. Cloud9 Tempest getting ready to pinch in from the side. They throw out the Scrying Orb. The Baron already down to about half HP, popping out as much damage as they can. Zarya playing on the front side, eating up a bunch of damage. They're going to have to disengage from this one, just becoming a little bit too risky. So good by Cloud9 Tempest. Yeah, really good respect coming in from Elomingle. Not having that engage and, that AoE, damage mitigation for the Maokai.
But the thing is that Elomingle, they still had Glacial Prism and Equalizer available. So what's beautiful about that pick is that it was obviously just a miscommunication for Cloud9 Tempest. They do manage to find that mid-tier tower, so great counter rotation from them there. But it was just Cloud9 Tempest, everyone saying, we're out, grab the lantern. And unfortunately, Solo just, he got that Q a little bit too late. So it was just a clean pick. They didn't have to burn the Glacial Prism. They didn't have to burn the Equalizer. But just so terrified of hard stealing the Baron that they back off. I mean, obviously they took a little bit too much damage, so miscommunication from Elomingle of, are we fighting this? Are we sticking on the Baron? And by the time they made up their minds, Baron had taken the majority of them to half health, so they couldn't even try to force the 4v5, but... The other big question, as we now have another counter push down mid, because we're coming on to 42 minutes of the game, and everyone's stack, that is the new Black Cleaver item up on Moonway, is Yasui. We talked about how putting Yasui on more of a utility-based champion, would that hurt Cloud9 Tempest in the late game because they're losing one of their primary carries? And I kind of feel like the answer is yes. Yeah, he's sitting 3-1-3, but that scoreline doesn't mean so much on a Lulu as it would a Zed and Ahri.
Yeah, and that 3-1-3 isn't even the result of him becoming, totally impactful in the team fights. He's sort of just kind of picking up the kills, throughout. But he's not making those enormous plays that are leading to massive wins for the team as a whole. So I may have to eat my words here, as the Baron has been engaged, getting down to about half HP, but Cloud9 Tempest still respecting here. Gonna disengage. They pop the Righteous Glory, but a very nice dash over the wall. That Relentless Pursuit will take Moonway to safety. So Baron yet again gonna get disengaged from neither side. Gonna find, the fight in their favor. And they're really just tiptoeing around this objective right now. So much so that the next dragon is spawning in 1 minute and 40 seconds, which could be the 4th of the game, and one step closer to that aspect of the dragon buff for Elomingle.
Well, likewise, because the Baron will surely be up still at this point, since we're having a sweet breakdance competition around it.
Yeah.
That 4th dragon buff is fairly important and makes securing this Baron so much easier. So would be a huge swing of power for Elomingle as far as their safety to secure this big purple worm should they get the dragon.
It looks like yet again just more vision control being really stressed around that big purple worm, as you so aptly put it. Cloud9 Tempest right now with the upper hand in that regard, but plenty of sweepers and pinks available for Elomingle to get in there and try to spot out these wards. You can see Zeriab doing what he can to clear out. Now Dragon just 45 seconds away. We may see either of these sides just trade for it, honestly, rather than fight each other, because they've been so apprehensive in that regard that if one decides to go for the Baron, the other may just opt to go for the Dragon.
I believe the first time these two teams faced, it was when Elomingle was still using Shorter Ace as their jungler, and then that was the game that Shorter Ace decided to pull Rengar, and Hard did his, I think he did Nidalee, and just absolutely decimated Shorter Ace, just camped him, destroyed him in the jungle. Yusui was playing his Zed, so quite a different story this time around. Again, AlphaDraft is a double round robin style tournament, so this is the second time these teams will face.
Yeah. You can see both teams now starting to relegate themselves down around the Dragon. Moonway has started this one up. It's down to half HP, but Hard playing so far forward. It gets knocked up by that Howling Gale. They're looking for the engage. Solo has already popped the Maelstrom. It's taking a bit of damage as the Culling comes across. That will be the Dragon for Cloud9 Tempest, but it looks like Solo is going to go down to the backside of this one. A nice lockup from Zeriab onto 3 members now. Hard going to have to use that tunnel system and get out of the way now. Moonway going over the wall, trying to get onto Lot. He has so much damage. Arc second going to find that kill now. Yusui getting locked down by those Electro Harpoons. This is a fantastic fireback coming in for Elomingle, who are likely going to be able to pick up a Baron off the backside of these 2 picks. 2-0, lose the Dragon, but a Baron in the eyes.
Gotta kind of be scratching your head about the decision they're making there for Cloud9 Tempest. So they burn pretty much all of their major cooldowns while growth is still available on securing the Dragon, but may lose the Baron. Hard looking for the steal. Will he get it?
No, not even gonna try to play for that one, and now maybe in a little bit of a bad spot. No, takes that dark passage to safety. Sheep was waiting in the wings to help his jungler get to safety. But this is yet again Elomingle coming up huge here. Getting that very nice fire back. They lose the Dragon, trade evenly in that regard, 3-3, but pick up 2 kills and a Baron. And now have such a good gold lead. But we are, the further we go, we're hitting that point where this gold lead isn't going to matter too much.
And obviously in basic terms, the reason why gold leads are important is because you want gold so you can buy items. And you want your items, you kill towers, kill the enemy, kill the nexus. But you can only have up to 6 items. So every single champion, they have a cap on as much gold as they need before they, it's just surplus at that point. And we've effectively almost hit this cap across the majority of every single member in this game. I think the top laners are kind of finishing up their last set of tank items. So, like you said, this gold discrepancy doesn't really mean much once you get to 45, 50, 55 minutes. Doesn't really mean much right now anyway, because we've had a really close game for the majority of this set.
Really
I think this is the
indeed,
widest the margin has been.
Yeah, but Elomingle, they're looking to stretch that as much as possible and stop having such an even game. They push in, get that tier 2 bot tower. Just the top outer turret going to be standing for Cloud9 Tempest in that regard. So he's trying to get a push in onto this bot turret, but they don't have that much siege potential. Lucian not having the best range as an AD carry, so really has to put himself into harm's way if he wants to really lay in the damage. See, he is completely fully bought here. Goes in, gets a little bit of damage and has to immediately back out using these Baron empowered minions as much as they possibly can to lay on some damage, but not quite coming up too well with that one. They have so much wave clear from the side of Cloud9 Tempest between those glitter lances and the boomerang blades from Lod.
The other thing that you have to be very mindful of is that as these games go longer and longer, the death timers are so unforgiving. So yes, a lot of respect. Yeah, a lot of respect is being shown by Elomingle, because even if they mess up here, it's a long way to march across the map for Cloud9 Tempest to take much, but it can be very punishing.
You can see this tower now down to half HP. This is Elomingle really in the siege game for the long haul, doing what they can to try to get the damage in. The top lane is starting to push in their favor, but not sure if they're going to be able to keep this one up for too much longer for that top wave to become that much more effective. Zerium playing quite far forward. The Baron buff is about to expire. Mega Inferno Bomb gets thrown out. Lod down to about half HP, but with the loss of these Baron empowered minions, it's going to be the retreat here. As we can see, that's going to be the retreat here for Elomingle. Not going to be able to find too much. Just get that tier 2 tower. Nothing really else coming out from the Baron buff.
Double Baron game, and we still haven't broken an inhib on either side.
And yet again, we're hitting that point. Dragon coming up in a minute and a half. Yet again, just this game droning on and on and on. Neither team really able to find any, good engage onto the other, as a cohesive unit. So I'm not going to be able to, finish this one out, it would seem. The question is, I feel like it's more of a matter of who is going to misstep, and that's going to spell out the rest of this game. Because at this point, you can see 82,000 gold, 74,000 gold for Cloud9 Tempest. These guys are hitting that point where the gold is just not going to matter for either side. They're both getting their full item buys coming in here. It's just going to be a matter of who screws up first.
You're absolutely correct. It's going to come down to one team fight. It's just going to be one team fight. We'll see if it's over an inhib or if it's over a dragon that spawns in 44 seconds, and that's going to be the game. Because again, these death timers, 52 minutes in, you get an ace. That's about a minute. And these bases will just melt because everyone has 6 items. I mean, the only people who don't are the top laners.
Yeah. We can see. Something I kind of shortly want to touch on since we have a little bit of a downside, or downtime. ArcSecond finally able to swing his way back in, become that Ziggs farmer that we know him so well to be.
That's a good point. The lead that Yasui had built up, having that whole itemization on top of Ziggs, and leading to that kind of mid-game power spike that we saw when they were picking those, or making those picks with Solo, speeding up that Maokai, is null and void now that we've reached this late in the game that ArcSecond, like you said, completely evened up on items.
Yep. And then we can see the dragon does get engaged. Hard goes in for the steal, not able to find it. It's going to be the 4th dragon of the game going over to Elomingle. With Baron spawning in just a minute and a half, that's a pretty advantageous pickup for them. Hard still playing quite far forward, gonna have to be a little bit careful, but on the hunt is Pop. Zerium spotted out by that scrying orb. Not sure if they're gonna be able to find any real engaged. Solo going in deep with a Guardian Angel of all things on a Moonway. He's gonna have to take that Dark Passage to safety. That's gonna be the equalizer thrown out. Lod already down quite low. He eats that satchel charge. Glacial Prison comes in, but he eats it with a spell shield. Has a massive shield as well from Yasui. So will not get taken down quite just yet. But already a heck of a lot of damage being thrown out by the side of Elomingle, showing that they are still very much in charge of this game.
So scary for Cloud9 Tempest right there. I thought for sure the Glacial Prism was going to be the end, but Lod with a nice spell shield. That said, we now have a finish line in sight for this game with the 4th dragon secured, the epic 5th dragon buff, 6 minutes. Even if they don't get it, Cloud9 Tempest will have to fight for that one. So our saga may be coming to an end, and right now, Elomingle still in the driver's seat. That said, this is a one-team fight game. It just needs the perfect setup. And again, Elomingle, they actually kind of fumbled their wombo combo again. You have to think, the Equalizer went down, the Mega Inferno Bomb went down together. However, they were blocked or sidestepped by 2 members. The Glacial Prism was not there for the follow and the lockup.
Yeah, and honestly, right now, I feel as though Cloud9 and Tempest have a little bit of an advantage. The Mega Inferno Bomb is just about to come off of cooldown, but the Glacial Prison isn't quite yet there for Zeriab. So had they been able to make a pick, pick a fight off the backside of that last one, they may have been able to come out on top. To see Colin going to be burned out from Moonway, not going to be able to find too much there, barely doing any damage to any member of Cloud9 and Tempest. So yet another ultimate. Gonna be burned out here. Sheep going for a grab, not gonna be able to find that one. The wave pushing up this mid side. Baron has been live for a little bit of time now. And both of these teams, I feel, are gonna be just a little bit too scared to start it. Doing so would take a pretty great confidence in their team playability, and neither side has shown that they're, that much superior to the other in these team fights.
I feel like Cloud9 Tempest has the harder composition to execute, in all honesty. Elomingle's is fairly straightforward. It's just an issue of making sure that everyone's on the same page and they're all working as a cohesive unit. They do have the 4th Dragon buff, which means that should they get on top of this Baron, they will burn it faster than Cloud9 Tempest. But approaching it is just so terrifying just because, again, the classic speed up Maokai, have him hard engage. Righteous Glory on the hunt, Whimsy. At this point, let me check on Yasui. It's a 77% movement speed increase.
Yeah. It's a heck of a lot. You can see full buy has come in from Moonway, actually selling his boots to pick up that Zephyr. Gonna maximize as much as he possibly can here in this fight. 500 CS for both AD carries as well as the mid lane of Elomingle. Yasui on the way there, just a little bit shy of it. So we'll be coming in that regard. So we're gonna have 4 people at 500 CS at the 55-minute mark, almost the 56-minute mark. So pretty long haul game here. 1 hour hype coming in.
Do you like Street Sharks? Koosh balls, maybe? No? Okay, it's cool.
I do like Street Sharks.
Really?
Yes.
Were you like a Gargoyles fan too? Come
not
on,
as much.
You can't like Street Sharks and then just diss on Gargoyles because one of them was actually a good show.
Okay, I watched Street Sharks more. I had the action figures. I never owned any Gargoyles toys as a child, I should say. Street Sharks for sure. That was my John back when I was a kid.
The dragon. It's in
God damn it! All right,
make it.
here we go. Dragon coming up
Is this
in
the
a
longest
minute.
game AlphaDraft has had? Next time on Dragon Ball Z, Solo, look it in!
I think it is. Yeah, Solo going in for the engage here with the Righteous Glory. Zeri trying to cut him off as best as he can. The calling coming across as he pops that Maelstrom. See, he will be on the retreat. Here's Yasui throwing out the shields to try to keep him alive. Will only take about 10%. Yeah, on the hunt is burned. Good point.
Cooling down, though.
Yeah, a lot getting burned out here.
Okay, here we go. This is it. Oh, the ping.
This is the moment of truth.
Oh, sneaky. They're like, you can have the 5th dragon. We'll trade it for the Baron, and then your 5th dragon won't be able to do anything. But wait, they're spotted out by a ward. Yeah,
they do get spotted by that ward hard going into the pit. Baron working its way down to half HP. That's going to be Cloud9 Tempest on the retreat here. They don't want to fight this. Either team could just completely screw up on either side here.
It's one misstep, and that's it. Can you imagine playing for a 57-minute game, being this intense and locked in just to lose it on one person being out of position? Like Zeriab right now.
Oh, yeah, like Zeriab, not going to get caught by that Flay Sheep. Unable to find that one. Hard not able to get the knock-up either. So a little bit of a split from Elomingle. Gonna have to play a little bit carefully as that dragon is live. Cloud9 Tempest want to make sure that that aspect of the dragon buff doesn't go over to the enemy team. Culling thrown out yet again, just really tickling hard at this point. Solo eats a little bit of the damage. On the Hunt and the Righteous Glory have been popped. Zeriab playing in the front side here. That's going to be Equalizer coming across. Sheep already taken out of the fight. Solo, he will go down, but he does have that Guardian Angel pop to keep him alive. Minefield being thrown out. Has to go over the wall to take himself to safety. So flash down for him. Big old run. Playing on the front side. The dragon has been engaged. Can hard get it. No, it's going to be the burn and double buff going over to Elomingle as they finish off hard. So far, it's just a 1-for-0. They stop the recall from Solo. The bouncing bomb finding an arc second, taking him down with the top laner and the jungler down. They could open themselves up for that Baron take, or they might just shove straight down the mid lane here. You can see 68 seconds on Solo. Elomingle coming up huge in this game.
And finally, like a trigger, they thought that they had Zeriab spotted out, but they turn, they find the wombo combo, they find the 5th dragon, and they're just melting through this base right now. I don't think Cloud9 Tempest have anything left in the tank as far as wave clear. Yusui and Laud are both still up with these towers.
He's throwing out as much as he can. Zarya beginning taken quite low, but that's 2 Nexus turrets down, and Elomingle are gonna come up huge. Almost an hour into this game, they take down Cloud9 Tempest, one of the top teams here at ADCL.
Excellent finish, I will say. 57 minutes in the game. That was the team fight that I expected to have. Cap that one off. Fantastic stack of the wombo combo from Elomingle, and it's a completely different story than the first time that we saw these two teams face off. And I have to kind of go back to Cloud9 Tempest's draft phase and their decision to put Yusui on Lulu mid. I feel like it's a lot of, frankly, wasted talent and putting him on a utility-based mid laner.
I have to agree with you. You know, despite having an okay record here with the 3-2-4, it's not like he played poorly on the Lulu, but it wasn't able to become nearly as impactful as they needed it to be
just
to
look at
find
this.
themselves a victory. Damage
Done to champions. Yusui has about 28k. The most on his team is going to be 38k or 34k, excuse me, for Laud. Check out Ziggs.
Yeah,
45.
That's absolutely absurd.
Across the board, Elimingle's members just dominated Cloud9 Tempest as far as damage dealt to champions. So well-earned victory, well fought. 57 minutes. I think that's the longest game.
Yeah, and I'd like to credit Moonway yet again, having a perfect game, 8-0-5 as the AD carry. Just playing out of his mind. This is somebody that we're going to continue to keep our eye on as we keep coming back here for ADCL. He's just having such a good showing here, and especially with the Lucian. We saw him take away the Kalista in the draft phase. Now maybe the Lucian is something that they're going to have to take into consideration. Next time a team faces off against Elomingle. So really well played to them. Congrats on the victory. We will get ready to move on into our last game of the night. Unfortunately, we do have a couple forfeits, so we do have a little bit of a break coming in. And that's a little bit of an understatement, I should say. So we're going to try to find some content to fill the void, but when we do come back, we'll have more information on when we will be seeing Legendary versus Misfits. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll have more information for you in just a few.